name is Dr. T. I hope you're all staying safe out there. I'm wearing my mask so you don't get the coronavirus through this webinar. So today we're going to talk about the 6 hidden causes of digestive issues. I wish I had have known this 15 years ago, because 15 years ago I was treating patients as a naturopath. I was putting them on a lot of pills, but we weren't really solving the problem. And then about a few years ago, 6, 7 years ago, when I learned functional medicine, I learned the mistakes that I was making as a naturopath to give you a better quality of life and better health. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so as I said, my name is Dr. T, Dr. Trent Freeman. I am the doctor here at Tucson Functional Medicin and Neuropathy Clinic. We've done about 4 webinars so far this year on the digestive system. This is another one. Digestive system is a huge problem in at least America, probably the whole world, but it's a huge problem in America. So many people have digestive problems. So 60% of Americans have a chronic disease. And this is a graphic by the CDC. It was done a few years ago, so it actually might be worse than 60%. But the point is, the majority of Americans have a chronic disease. So people are wasting more and more time in doctors' waiting rooms. Tucson Functional Medicin offers customized health plans to get to the cause. The cause, that's the key of your health concerns. So you can spend less time in waiting rooms and more time enjoying the health and the quality of life that you deserve. So as I said, we're going to look at 6 of the most overlooked reasons for digestive issues. And I hate to say this, but most of them I did not learn in naturopathic school. So the real question is, why are you here? What is it that you want from this, right? Is it you want to be able to play with your kids or your grandkids and you just can't because you don't have any energy because my digestive system isn't working correctly, not feeding all the energy? Is it because you can't go out to eat with friends because you have such digestive problems? Or you got gas that smells like rotten eggs and you wouldn't go out with somebody because you can't control? All of these things are factors that draw people to these workshops. And what we're here to do, one of the tenets of functional medicine, is to teach you to need me less. You shouldn't need the doctor all the time. And if the doctor does his her job correctly, they teach you what you need to know about your health. So you don't need the doctor as much. So this workshop is for people who want to feel carefully listened to and deeply cared about. We spend a lot of time with you, and the reason is nobody knows your body better than you. You live in this body all the time. You may not know the biochemistry or what the disease is called or the condition is called, but you know what's going on in your body. I can never help you unless I take the time to listen to you. So we never have an appointment of less than 30 minutes. Most of our functional medicine appointments are an hour apiece, but we have to be able to spend the time with you to understand and get to the cause of what the problem is. How about, do you want to successfully not just cover the symptoms of, but recover from your health problems? Create a practical and sustainable health habits. Anybody can say they want to be healthy. That's easy. We do that every New Year's resolution. But you have to have a system and something that you can control and do that fits in with your lifestyle that will enable you to continue what you learn in the office. Or on Zoom. We do webinars as much, we do telemed as much as we do in office. In fact, we're doing more telemed now than we're doing the in office right now. But how would you like to get to the root cause of your problem? See, that's what I wasn't doing as a naturopath. I was giving people a lot of pills and I thought I was helping them because the pills were natural. The pills weren't pharmaceuticals. And I'm not against the pills, but if we actually get to the underlying cause and fix it, if we give you a practical and sustainable health system, you shouldn't need to be on pills. Spend less hours researching. I love the internet, but good grief, people spend an enormous amount of time on the internet. researching stuff, and they usually come out more confused than they went in. They watch webinars, and there's all these symposiums and all this kind of stuff. But that's not dealing with you directly. That's how we have to get to this. It's you. It's your body. It's testing your body to tell us what's going on. By the end of this webinar, you will discover the 6 overlooked causes of digestive disorders. There's more than 6, but these are the ones we see the most often. An exact method that we use to help even the most challenging cases. Why the conventional approach isn't enough. It's not working. That's why you're here. A proven strategy for long-term health. This isn't about patching things up for the next 6 months. This is about giving you the tools and the understanding of your body so that you can keep this running the way it's supposed to for the rest of your life. So we want to begin with the end in mind. The person who determines success of this program is you. You are the one who knows what you want. We spend a lot of time listening to you. What is it you want from this program? At the end of this program, what would success be to you? When's the last time a doctor ever asked you that? Here's a real question. Is your definition of health and your doctor's definition of health the same thing? So what do you want at the end? Do you want to be more energetic, motivated, have clarity, happy, calm, confident, balanced? What is it you want? You have expectations. You need to tell me your expectations so we can get what you want. But then what we have to do is look at where we are currently compared to where we want to go. So are we tired, bloated, crampy, confused, stressed out, frustrated? Is it a roller coaster? Do I feel better and then I feel worse? Or do I lose weight and then do I gain it all back? And do I lose it and gain it all back? And that's what most Americans are doing. They're constantly in this roller coaster up and down. I feel good sometimes. I feel bad sometimes. If I make $1 million this week, but I don't know how I made $1 million, I can't make $1 million next week. So not only do we need to address our current state to go to our desired state, we have to understand what it takes to get there so that you can reproduce it in the future. That's what the question is. How do you get from your current state to your desired state? For men and women, digestive problems aren't specific to any gender, any race, creed, nothing. It affects men and women all the time. This program works for both. A little bit different sometimes in the way we deal with it because of the way that a man's body works versus a woman's body. That's what makes it individual to you, but it's for both. It's for everybody. Your digestion is an interdependent system. It is a bunch of cogs that work together, and if one of those cogs isn't working, all the rest of the cogs stop working optimally. Maybe stop working at all. And this is what we have to look at. Digestion is from the mouth to the anus, and it's everything that goes on in between those points. And if something along that assembly line kind of a system isn't working correctly, it's going to mess up our system. So what are the 6 overlooked causes of digestive disorders? The sequencing is things happening in the sequence that they're supposed to, and is each part of the sequence getting done fully so that the next part of the sequence can operate to its optimum ability too? Stress. This is one of our biggest problems in America now. And when we are stressed, we'll talk a little bit about it here in the future, but when we're stressed, we actually shut down our digestive system. Because when I'm running from a saber-toothed tiger, I don't care about digestion. Digestion isn't important if I don't survive. How about low stomach acid? This is a huge problem. And we're going to tell you the one thing that almost every American does that keeps causing low stomach acid. It's a real simple thing, but we'll talk about it when we get there. And the question is, are you doing it? And I'll bet you are. Food sensitivities. Now, we're going to talk about leaky gut, and they're now saying that 80 to 85% of the food sensitivities that we have probably aren't actual food sensitivities. They're leaky gut. And we'll explain a little bit about that as we go through that too. How about stealth infections? According to the FDA and the AMA, 50% of the people that have bacterial overgrowth in their digestive tract do not have any digestive symptoms at all. So sequencing, like we were talking about, this is a step-through process. The food gets chewed up in your mouth. You're supposed to chew every bite 35 times before you swallow it. Then it goes into the stomach. We mix hydrochloric acid in there, enzymes, bile, all that kind of stuff. We churn it up some, break it down. We sterilize it with the acid. Then it goes into small intestine. And it's just a step-by-step process. And we need to make sure that the sequencing is happening and that each step is being taken care of in this process. We have a test that tells us about this. Digestion is like a car wash. So these big wheels that got all these little bristles or whatever they are on there, and they spin around and they get all the dirt off your car. Now let's say you went through the car wash, and one of these big things that was for the right side of your car, the passenger side of your car, isn't working. So my car goes through the system. It's going to be able to go through the system. And if I look at the car from the left side or the driver's side, oh my gosh, look how clean that car is. But because part of the car wash wasn't working properly, if I walk to the passenger side of my car, it's still all dirty because the brush that was supposed to do that part didn't work right. And that's how digestion is. It's a big assembly line process that each step has to do its job for you to have optimum digestion and health. Stress. This is a big one. Now, we all think about the saber-toothed tiger, right? Well, what happens today is we've just repackaged our saber-toothed tiger. We now call our saber-toothed tiger husbands and wives and kids and parents and the coronavirus and taxes and bullying and deadline. Okay, so we have all of these new saber-toothed tigers. And the saber-toothed tigers in our modern life are becoming so normal that we don't even think we're stressed anymore. But it's not uncommon for people to eat at their desks now. Well, I heard it, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 50 to 60% of Americans don't even take a vacation anymore. And then what is a vacation? We got to get there. And then we got 500 things planned every single day that we're there. We got to come back to work to rest up from our vacation. So stress is a huge part. And in the AARP bulletin in November of 2019, they actually talked about how inflammation, stress is undermining our entire health, and it's at the foundation of all of our chronic diseases now. So this is what basically happens, right? We have the sympathetic nervous system. I'm gonna get my little pin up here. So we have the sympathetic, and this we call the fight or flight. And in this system, our body is working for survival. Over here in the parasympathetic, we call this the resting and digesting system. And we should be in the resting and the digesting most of the day, maybe 95% of the time. And we should only be stressed out when there actually is a saber-toothed tiger in front of us. Or in modern day terms, I'm driving down the road, somebody steps off the curb into my lane, I got to get on that brake to get the car stopped. That's when I need that fight or flight response. I don't need the fight or flight when I'm sitting at my desk trying to cram a burger in my mouth while I'm answering the phone and doing computer things and all this kind of stuff. And according to the research, most Americans are in the fight or flight pretty much the entire day nowadays. So when my body is worried about survival, I'm in that fight or flight. My body does not care about my brain chemistry. It does not care about my sex hormones. It does not care about my thyroid converting T4 into T3. It does not care about my digestion. It does not care about my detoxification. The body prioritizes survival above all those things. So if we don't deal with where you are as far as stress goes, we can never get any success with the digestive system at all, ever. And so everybody says to me, oh, I'm not stressed. I know if I'm stressed, and I'm not stressed. We have a test for this. And the test will tell us whether you are or you are not stressed. Okay? We all think we're not, but we are. So the resting and digesting system, this is where most mystery illnesses and symptoms start. Hippocrates said, all disease begins in the gut. And according, like I said earlier, but the FDA and the AMA, 50% of the people that have digestive issues, overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, funguses, things like this, have no digestive symptoms at all. Now, can you imagine all digestive symptoms are is a red check engine light. If your car did not have a red check engine light, remember, if you're old, it used to not have a red check engine light. And how did we know when things were starting to break down? Car quit on the side of the road, and then I'm stuck. right? Now we have these red check engine lights that come on. They don't tell us what's wrong, but they tell us something is wrong. We take the car to the mechanic, the doctor of the car, and they plug it into a computer. The computer tells them what's wrong. Well, we're the same way. And digestive symptoms is where a lot of this stuff starts. But remember, 50% of the people that have digestive issues don't have the symptoms. So in our modern day system, we would never check it. You need to choose your food wisely. You need to chew your food thoroughly. Every bite's supposed to be chewed 35 times before you swallow it. You need to chill. Where do most people eat? In front of the TV. In front of the TV. And so are you focused on eating, and are you focused on the benefits and the gifts of this symbiotic relationship that we have with this earth? Are we focused on that? No, we're focused on the cops that are busting the door down to go, and all that kind of stuff. So the environment that you eat in is also very, very, very important. And then you need to cherish life. So where you send your focus and your flow is where you send function. And most people, the most important system in the whole body, the digestive system, we're not focusing on that at all. We don't sit at a dinner table with the family and talk and enjoy each other's company while we're eating and enjoy the food. We scarf the food down as quickly as we possibly can while we're binge watching something on Netflix. Be grateful for symptoms. So this is our red check engine light. We talked a little bit about this, but the symptoms tell us when something is wrong. So it is wonderful when we get a system that tells us something is wrong. So maybe we can prevent it from becoming a disease because we get a symptom. So symptoms are very, very important. We don't want to ignore them. They're what tell us that we have a problem to start with, but we don't want to chase the symptoms. We want to test the body and then actually treat what the body tells us is going on. Having digestive problems is not always your fault. We live in a country where we like you to feel guilty about stuff and you're the cause and everything is your fault. But here's what's really going on. In 1950, this is what a chicken looked like at 68 days old. In 2008, when a chicken is 47 days old, this is what the chicken looks like now. And why? We're pumping them full of steroids and hormones and immunizations and antibiotics and all this kind of stuff. 60% of immunizations and antibiotics that are made for animal husbandry. They're not made for you and me. They're made for the chicken or the cow or the pig or all this kind of stuff. So what is that doing to the food and how your body can utilize the food? That chicken doesn't even look like the same chicken. This one I thought was really interesting. I put this lecture together in 2018, and these are some actual pictures that I saw off of the internet. This is a picture of an Oreo that was actually purchased in 2001, and it's 2018, and that's what the Oreo looks like. This is a bag of French fries, McDonald's obviously, that was purchased in 2011, and that's what it looked like in 2018. Doesn't look too different from the day you bought it, does it? Here's a hamburger. This was purchased in 2010. Like I said, we made this in 2018, and that's what our hamburger looked like. Why? Because we have so much preservatives and chemicals and stuff like that in our food today that we are destroying the nutrient value of our food by the process of making it or harvesting it or all that kind of stuff. So how about low stomach acid? We in medicine call this hypochlorhydria. Hypo is not enough, and chlorhydria is a type of the acid that we use. Acid's super important. Acid sterilizes our food, kills anything that's in it that shouldn't be there. It also prepares our vitamins and minerals to be absorbed through the intestinal lining. We don't absorb zinc and selenium and things like this if we don't have enough hydrochloric acid. It also helps the breakdown process. It breaks down protein. We put all the things into the stomach, and when we mix it up in our stomach to digest it, we put bile in there for breaking down fat. We put enzymes down there to break down sugar. We put hydrochloric acid in there to break down proteins and sterilize our food. The other thing that hydrochloric acid does is it sends a message to the pancreas to send out bicarbonate. And the reason is your stomach has a mucosal lining on the inside that prevents the stomach from having a hole burned in it by the hydrochloric acid. Your intestinal system doesn't have this. So the pancreas has to kick out bicarbonate to neutralize or lower the acid so that the food can move into the small intestines and not burn a hole through the intestinal system. Now, let's say you don't have enough hydrochloric acid. It never stimulates the pancreas to kick out bicarbonate. So now the food just has to sit in the stomach until the acid naturally lowers enough that the food can move into the small intestines and not burn a hole through the stomach. And I told you I was going to tell you the one thing that you probably do that causes low stomach acid. Drinking fluids while you eat. So let's say you drink water, and you have water and you're drinking water as you're eating. Well, guess what the water's doing? The water's going in there, it's diluting the hydrochloric acid. So now the hydrochloric acid can't do its job as well as it should. You should never you should never drink when you eat. You should only drink after you're done eating. Let's allow the hydrochloric acid to be intense enough, acidic enough, I guess, so that it can do its job in the intestinal system. So stop drinking anything when you eat if you are. How about food sensitivities? The next slide, we're going to talk about leaky gut. And now they're beginning to say that as much as 80 to 85% of food allergies is not coming from an actual allergy to the food. What's happening is we're building an immunity problem with the food because the chunks of the food are too large. And we'll talk about that just in a minute. But some people actually have food sensitivity. They actually have problems with certain food. We have to learn what those are. We don't want to be adding those. One of the things in the PDFs that we're going to give you is called the Coca Pulse Test. And Dr. Coca, he was an immunologist, and he actually created this test, something that you can do at home, so you can test the foods that you are consuming and seeing how the body is reacting and responding to those foods. It's an amazing thing. Another tool that we want to give you so that you don't need to come in here and see me or do it on Zoom. And so that's one of the major tenets of functional medicine, is to teach you to need me less. So we give you a lot of tools so that you can solve most of these problems yourself. Leaky gut. So here's the deal. Dr. Alessio Fasano, in the year 2000, actually discovered the marker for leaky gut. So we have these things in our digestive tract called tight junctions. So they show it here with a little cotter pin holding these things together. And the size of these tight junctions are 1 to 3 microns. What in the world does that mean? A red blood cell is 7 to 9 microns big. And you can't even see that with the naked eye. And it is 3 to 9 times the size of the tight junction. But when we get leaky gut, we break these junctions up, or sometimes it actually just splits the cell in half, and we have these big spaces where stuff can get through. So when we have leaky gut, these tight junctions that were 1 to 3 microns become 2 to 300 microns. So let me give you an example of how this might be creating food sensitivities or food allergies. Let's take peanuts. You go back 40 years ago, and there's other reasons why people have peanut allergies, but this might be one. And now everyone and his mother's allergic to peanuts. But let's say I eat peanuts, and the peanut is supposed to be broken down to a size that it can get through this tight junction, 1 to 3 microns. But if I have this big space, 2 to 300 microns, now a big piece of peanut can pass through this tight junction and get into the bloodstream. And in the bloodstream, it gets carried out to all of the body. So if I have this big piece of peanut now that cannot be used by the mitochondria to make energy, it just starts floating around. And when things just start floating around, that creates inflammation, stress to the human body. And so the body says, whoa, what's this thing doing? It's not being used. So it creates an antibody for the peanut. Now, are you actually allergic to the peanut, or are you allergic to the size of the peanut that came through the leaky gut? And what we're finding is as much as 80 to 85% of food allergies aren't actually food allergies. They are leaky gut. And the bigger pieces that can't be used by the body are getting through, and then the body creates an antibody to start fighting off the antigen or this inflammation process. So there's 3 steps of healing the digestive tract. Number 1, you got to heal the holes, leaky gut. Secondly, you got to kill any of the bugs that are in there that shouldn't be in your digestive system. And then 3, you have to build the microbiome. Now, this is the frustration for so many people because they watch these videos and these symposiums and the doctor talks on this and that, and they hear about microbiome and microbiome and microbiome. So they go out and they eat yogurt and they take probiotics and prebiotics, and I'm not against any of those things, but it's the sequencing. If we don't patch the holes, kill the things that aren't supposed to be there, and then build the microbiome, if you build a microbiome but we got holes and stuff that's not supposed to be there, you're never going to get the digestive solutions that you're looking for. It's never going to happen. It's sequencing. So a little picture, got this whatever antigen, some sort of bacteria or something like that that goes into my digestive system. It's supposed to be held in the digestive system and not be allowed to get into the actual bloodstream. But what happens, it didn't go all the way through, did it? So what happens is we got these big holes. And so when we got these holes, this antigen or bacteria or whatever it's supposed to be can now pass through the digestive tract and get into the bloodstream. So 80% of our immune system is in the gut. Now, this is how we're going to deal with the COVID-19 virus next week at our webinar. If you don't know what you're supposed to do with the COVID virus, you've been living under a rock, right? There's no magic formula. They've told you what you need to do. You need to wear your mask. You need to do all that kind of stuff. What we're going to deal with is mostly how we can use the coronavirus to prepare for the next pandemic. About every 3 to 5 years, a pandemic hits the world. So we can use the coronavirus as a way to learn where the holes in our health system is, because what's the best health thing that you can have against the coronavirus or any pandemic? The regular flu, a very strong immune system. And that's how we're going to deal with the COVID virus, the coronavirus next week. So leaky gut has been linked to numerous autoimmune conditions and theorized to be an underlying root cause. A lot of the autoimmune doctors now are beginning to, they're finding amazing help with the autoimmune disease because they're healing the leaky gut. The gut-brain connection is just huge. And so proper digestion equals a balanced immunity. So again, we're back at the immune system. We need a strong immune system to be able to fight off any viruses, the coronavirus or any of the other ones. How about stealth infections? As we said earlier, but the FDA and the AMA says that 50% of the people out there that have bacterial, viral, fungal overgrowths or infections inside their digestive tract don't have any digestive symptoms at all. No red check engine light. So since a functional medicine doctor does not treat symptoms, we test it. The body will tell us whether it's there or not, whether you have symptoms or not, the body will tell us. So what tests do we run? We have tests for every single step that we talked about. So number one, stress. This is called the adrenal cortisol stress test. So almost everybody that I ever meet, they say, well, I'm not stressed. I know if I'm stressed and I'm not stressed. And then we run this test. And they are horribly stressed. They've just learned to adapt to the stress. So stress has become such a common factor in our life now that we have adapted and we don't even feel stressed. But this green is where the numbers are supposed to be, right? So we want to be down in here. And look at this one. So we want this to be 13 to 24 at the 8 a.m. reading, and this is at a 30. And cortisol is one of the things that the body uses to deal with stress. So we look at cortisol and DHEA here. Well, here we get at the noon reading, right? We want it to be way down here, but look at it. So we want it to be 5 to 10, and it's at a 12. So again, we're still dealing with this stress. And then here at 4 o'clock, we'd like it to be up 6 to 8, and it's at 4. And then at midnight, this is when we'd like it to be up in this area, and it's too low. So what this causes when we have too much when we get up and not enough when we're sleeping, it causes not restful sleep. So these are the people that wake up and they're exhausted. I got 8 hours of sleep, but I need 72 cups of coffee to get going. Might be this. This is the SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, okay? I just did a webinar with another doctor, and she said, I was fascinated. She's one of the SIBO experts in America, and she said that they're now finding out that 60% of the people that have IBS has SIBO. They have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That's what they actually have that's causing the IBS. So this is a test that looks at what's going on in your small intestines, right? And what's going on in the beginning of your large intestine. We have a whole nother test just for your large intestine, but this tells us what's going on. Remember that assembly line process? Well, this is what's going on at the small intestinal part of our assembly line. So then we do stool testing. We've moved to a new test called the GI map test. And this is looking at the DNA of the bacteria or the organs or whatever it's supposed to be looking at. And we're getting amazingly detailed information off of this test. There's another great thing. Stool tests, you usually have to give 3 samples. Well, in this test, you only have to give 1 because we're looking for DNA. And the DNA of all the creepy crawlies or whatever we're looking for in this is in every stool sample, unlike the bacteria and the way we used to look at it. So this one is telling us the elastase is a marker of the pancreas. How's the pancreas doing and stuff like this. So this tells us some of the stuff that's going on and how the organs and the system is actually dealing with the food as it's moving its way through the system. This is just one of the bacterial infections that we can have. I use this one because about 50% of our patients have H. pylori. And H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, is the bacterial infection that grows ulcers. And we find it a lot. So this tells us, do we have it? And then this is what's really amazing. We're now able to find the virulence factor. So the more positive a person has in these down here tells us how hard it's going to be to get rid of this here. Now I had a patient, she had this, and she said, well, I'm just going to go to my medical doctor and get this taken care of. I said, okay. And she called me back a couple of days later and she said, and I don't know if all medical doctors do this, but she said, my medical doctor said that the only way the insurance will pay for this is if they do an endoscopy, so they run the camera down your throat, and they have to see that H. pylori has already created an ulcer or they won't pay for the treatment. So you have to wait for the H. pylori bacterial infection to do the damage, then they'll react to it. Our philosophy is, as soon as we see you have H. pylori, let's kill it before it even has a chance to build an ulcer in your system. We run another test called the organic acids test. Well, this is the mitochondria, right? All of this is how our little energy plants are taking the food that we're eating and making energy. And we can actually see this step in the process. Did we process our food well enough in the digestive system so that it's being used in the mitochondria to make energy for every one of your cells? You have trillions of cells in your body, and each one's got its own little energy plant. How about your brain? Well, your brain works upon the energy that's generated off the food you eat in the digestive system, and it feeds that little mitochondria in your energy cells. So Vanna Mandalay looks at epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are part of our adrenaline or catecholamine system, which responds to that saber-toothed tiger. Homovanillate looks at dopamine. That's another part of that adrenaline system. 24 through 27 are all looking at serotonin. And so what we're looking at is the results of our digestion and how it's powering our brain chemistry. Remember years and years and years ago, they said when your kids are studying, never let them eat sugary beverages or white flour. Well, why? Because it causes that mitochondria, that energy plant, to bog down and it doesn't work as well. And then my brain doesn't work as well and I can't learn what I'm supposed to learn. This is the actual test for leaky gut. Now we don't run this a lot. And the reason is it's a $75 add-on test. And I've never tested anybody that didn't have it. So they assume that 95% of Americans have leaky gut. So I run it, I don't know, probably 8-10 times a year. People that just want to see what it is. This is a particular person, we ran it. It's supposed to be below 107, and this person's was 176. So we do have a marker that we can run if you want to actually see where your level is. The great thing about leaky gut is 95% of Americans have it. The treatment that we do to fix it isn't going to hurt you, even if you don't have, if you're that 1 out of 100,000 patients that don't have the leaky gut, the treatment isn't going to help you. We could save money on the test. But some people want to see it. There is a test. That's called Zonulin. After identifying the root cause, once we get to the root cause of the problem, you're not going to suffer from digestive challenges or IBS. You will not have the anxiety about digestive issues. If you have horrible diarrhea, or you have gas that smells like rotten eggs, you have anxiety every single time you want to go out and eat with people, or go out with people, stuff like that. So there's a huge anxiety factor, and so much of our social interactions is around food. And if my digestive system isn't working, this becomes a huge issue of anxiety for me. How about energy? We talked about that mitochondria and how it uses food from our digestive system so that you have energy and you wake up feeling refreshed. And we also talked about that stress test, that cortisol test. And if those numbers aren't balanced, you can sleep all night long and be exhausted when you wake up. You'll understand what causes your digestive issues and what to do about them. This is one of the major tenets of functional medicine. It's not just to help you with the problem, but help you understand why you have that problem and what you can do about it in the future. Because if this comes back in a couple of years, I don't want you to have to come back and see me and do the same thing over again. If we've done our job correctly, we've empowered you to be able to run with this in the future. So like I said earlier, one of the tenets of functional medicine is to teach you to need me less. So where's the ball gotten dropped, right? All blood work is normal. We hear this all the time. I went to my medical doctor, they did blood work, they said everything is fine. Why do I feel so crappy if everything is fine? I went to 10 different alternative healthcare practitioners in the last 10 years. Now, this is the part that I wish I had learned, 15 years ago, because I was doing what we call in the industry, pop and pray. Pop a bunch of pills, just pray it makes it better. And the reason was we were treating symptoms, but we were treating it with a natural product, and we wanted you to believe that that's better. Well, you're not on those evil pharmaceuticals, but you're on all these pills, but they're natural pills, so they're good for you. The body shouldn't need a bunch of pills to do its job. So our premise is to use pills to force the organ systems back to doing what they're supposed to. And then your lifestyle, your digestion working correctly, it should enable your body to continue operating correctly without needing the pills anymore. People don't mind taking pills for a while, but who wants to be taking pills for the rest of your life? The missing link. So this is what everybody was missing. We have to do the proper testing to get to the underlying cause of the problem. We have to deal with your mindset. This is that fight or flight, resting and digesting, being joyful of our food and the symbiotic relationship that we have with this earth. And we have to have a strategy. Remember at the beginning, we said, where do you want to go with this? What is your outcome? That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide, because you're the one who knows what you want. When's the last time your doctor asked you what you wanted to get from this treatment program? Here's an interesting question. Is your doctor's definition and your definition of health the same? And if it's not, you're always going to be discouraged and frustrated with your healthcare system, because they're out there to treat your symptom. You want to fix the system. So how many do you think that are playing a role in your digestive system? Is it digestive sequencing? Is it stress? Is it low stomach acid, food sensitivities, leaky gut, stealth infections? Is it one? Is it many? Is it more? Is it even more than that? You can never know unless you do the testing to actually find out what is going on. The body will not lie to us. The body doesn't say, ooh, I better lie on this test so people think I'm a good body. It tells us exactly what's going on. When we get that information, we know exactly what we need to do to get to the cause of your problem. So here's the reality. New and valuable information do not change your life. So this is the internet, right? We attend the SIBO seminar, or, Dr. Hyman gives this video on this, and I'm not against any of those things. But having knowledge about stuff does not change things. Making decisions to do something about it is what changes it. And you need to have a guide that will take you step by step through this process, show you why you have the problems that you have and what we need to do to fix those. And then you can keep that information and repeat it over and over and over again, right? And then you have people that you know that may have these problems. Well, when you understand it, you can then help them. That's how we change the health in America. It's by passing along health. So, do you now see why it is so important to get to the root cause? If we don't get to the root cause, we're just going to be propping it up, whether it be with a pharmaceutical or be with a natural product. We're still just propping it up. We're treating symptoms. Why changing your diet is not always enough. They've completely changed our food supply. And if the sequencing isn't working right, again, changing your diet isn't going to change this sequencing. If you have leaky gut, you can eat the most best food in the entire world and stuff's going to leak through and not going to do the job that it's supposed to do. Why doing the right testing is important. We have to do the testing that will get to the cause of what is going on in your body and what your body will tell us that is actually going on. Why you can never fix digestive conditions with pharmaceuticals or over-the-counter supplements. They're both the same. If you don't deal with the underlying cause, you're just taking a pill to help you feel better. I'm not against feeling better, but wouldn't you like to feel better without having to take a bunch of pills and have this feel better continue year after year after year after year? This is why the current approach is failing. 50% of the people that have bacterial overgrowth in their digestive system don't have a symptom. And if we're always waiting for symptoms to treat things, how are we ever going to really get to the cause of this problem? Personalized healthcare is the only solution, and this is functional medicine. Functional medicine is based around you, listening to you. You determine the outcome of the treatment, not the doctor. You're not here for the doctor. You're here for what you can get from the doctor. The Tucson Functional Medicine, we've got a total health package. I've just created a new one. We have the full-blown 6-month full meal deal that just goes through the entire system of your health. We also created a total health package light. It's a 3-month system, still does all the same things, but it doesn't go into as much detail about the system. We also have another digestive specific program called Trust Your Gut. This is based on general functional medicine principles. There's information about all of these programs in the PDFs that we're going to send you the link to get the PDFs, right? We have the world's most comprehensive lifestyle and functional medicine program. I don't have a question about that. We deal with every aspect of your health. Finally, a comprehensive program that connects the dots instead of just creating a bunch more confusion. How many times have you watched a seminar and been more confused after you watched the seminar than you were when you went in? Because now you have all these other questions that you didn't even know existed before you watched the seminar. You need somebody to help you walk your way through that. Got to connect all the dots. Looks for the root causes from a biochemical, an emotional, and an environmental. Right? We talked about the chickens being 10 times the size of a chicken from 1950. Those are environmental toxins. How about breathing the air, pollution, all these kind of things. Utilizes state-of-the-art lab testing to find the hidden issues. We're using the cutting edge stuff. This is the most accurate, most recent stuff that we have. A doctor's only as good as the information that they get from the patient and from the patient's body. Teaches you life skills that you can pass on for generations. Health is not who we elect. Health isn't whether we do the right X-ray or MRI. Health is you understanding what health is and how it works for your body. And then you can take that information and help somebody that is in your realm of influence that isn't in mine. And you can help that person be healthier. And then that person, if you help them understand it, can help other people and other people and other people. And this is how we create a grassroots movement that truly helps the health of Americans. There's 4 easy steps to work with us. Number 1, you schedule your discovery appointment. We have a free 30-minute appointment that can either be done in the office or Zoom. We do a lot of telemed, especially since it's coronavirus. We're doing even more of it now. We've been using telemed for years, but this coronavirus has really brought this to the forefront. You shouldn't have to spend money to decide, is functional medicine going to work for me? Am I willing to make the kind of commitment that I need to really get to the cause of my problem? You shouldn't have to pay money to determine that. Number 2, you pick the program that works. I just showed you 3 different programs, and we have about 8 of these programs, but 3 just very specific for just the digestion, right? And you pick the one that works the best for you. I don't know which one works for you. You know what's going on in your life. I don't. Number 2, or 3, I guess, you do the program. You walk the step-by-step program with me. I'm with you every step along the way. We don't give you the information, say, pat you on the head and tell you, go, 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 go. No, we lead you through the process because we have created a program that works very, very well. I tell people I'm really, really good at throwing rocks in the creek, but you got to walk the rocks. I'll put them in there for you, so it's easy to get across the creek, but you got to walk across the rocks. So once you have done your discovery appointment, found out if you want to work with me and if functional medicine works with you, you pick the program that works the best for you, you walk that step-by-step program, then what do? You enjoy the quality of life and the health that you deserve. This isn't rocket surgery. You just have to make a commitment that your health is worth it. I had a guy just tell me the other day, you know, I can't afford functional medicine. And I said, let's just reframe this argument. What you're saying is my health is not worth the investment. Now, nobody would say that, but yet that's what we're saying. What is your health worth? If you have all the money in the world, but you don't have your health, guess what you spend all your money on? Trying to get your health back. So what are the benefits of working with Tucson Functional Medicine? Personalized clinical coaching sessions. Case review of all your past records. I want everything that you've ever had so that we can go through it. This helps us understand what you've had that's worked, what you've had that didn't work, because we're not here to do things that didn't work in the past. Customized supplement and nutrition program. Every one of those tests, we build a review. We spend about a half an hour going over each and every one of those tests. We build a review that's multiple pages that you take with you, and what? You go through, you write all of that you want on there so you can spend time going through it at your leisure, right? We go over this and we build a treatment program based upon what the lab tests are telling us. We interpret them. That's what I just told you. We do that review. Concierge services. You have ways that you can get in contact with me. We have a YouTube channel. We do these webinars all the time. We do 4 live events a year. If you live local, you can come to these. We have communication through the portal. There's all kinds of ways that you can get in contact with us when you need to. Live presentations. We have 4 a year. We do a webinar every month, but we do 4 live events a year. New patient functional medicine manual. We'll give you about a manual that's probably 2 inches thick so that you can write in that thing and write all these things that help you understand it. And then you have that for the rest of your life that you can go through. Portal access. That's what I talked about. You can send me messages. You can upload stuff to me. You can get a hold of me all the time through that portal. So can you see why we get exceptional results? You're waiting an average of 2 hours to see your medical doctor. The average medical doctor is spending about 10 minutes with a patient. What kind of problem can you actually solve in 10 minutes? You might be wondering, how is this different from seeing my naturopath? Well, hopefully we've dealt with that, but I am a naturopath. I do have a doctorate in naturopathic medicine, and functional medicine is completely different. Very, very different. I didn't look for the cause of the problems as much as a naturopath as I do as a functional medicine doctor. As a naturopath, I believed that the pills that you were on were good for you because they were natural pills. Now I believe that the human body, if it's running optimally and appropriately, it shouldn't need a bunch of pills to do the job. Now we do use pills to force the organ systems back to doing what they're supposed to. But once we get them back to doing what they're supposed to, our lifestyle should enable them to continue without the need of supplementations. Can you work with me remotely? We do a lot. I have patients all over the US. I have patients all over the world. So we do Zoom. We do Zoom. And I do probably more patients now Zoom than I do actually in the office anymore. So you're not just sitting across the room from me. You're sitting and looking at me on your computer screen, but it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. So, and then the coronavirus has really brought to the forefront telemed. How do I know if you can help me? Well, that's the purpose of the discovery appointment. You make this discovery appointment, you come in, you can decide. Is this really something that I think I'm committed to do, I'm willing to do? Is my health, am I so frustrated with my health I'm willing to do it? Do I like this Dr. T guy? Is he a crazy man and he just wouldn't work well with me? Oh, this guy, man, I see things exactly the way he does. This is what you do during that discovery appointment. So that is how you figure out if it can help you. A free discovery appointment. Does my initial consultation apply to my program? Nope. Your initial consultation is for you to make a decision if this is something you want to move forward on. So it's completely separate. Can I just do the testing? We have a lot of patients do that. They just want to run the 4 tests, not actually do a program until they see the results of the test. Sure, we can do that too. We actually have worked deals with the labs. When they bill the insurances, they bill these unbelievable costs to the insurances, and our patients were getting stuck with actually just ridiculous amounts of money with the insurance paying on the test. We work deals with the labs where we get the lab almost at the lab's cost. All 4 tests cost $1,000, and then we review them with you. How much is the testing? $1,000. And in the programs, the price of the program, the testing is built into the price of the program. So if you do the program, you don't have to pay for the testing. Some people, they like to do the testing to see where they are before they decide on the program, which is fine too. And if you do it that way, then when you decide on the program, we knock that $1,000 off your program. because you already paid for the testing, and that's included in the price of the program. So if you decide to do the testing first, then that just comes off of the cost. And we have a fair amount of people that actually just do the testing to start with. So the next steps is to book your discovery appointment. Now in the PDFs, I gave you a fill-in sheet that you can go fill it in, and you fill that in, get it back to me, and we can call you and schedule it. Or you can go to TucsonFunctionalMedicin.com and book your own appointment. In that PDF that asks for your information is also the step-by-step process that you can actually go in. You don't have to call me. You don't have to do, you can go into my website and pick the time, the type of discovery appointment. Do you want it in the office or do you want it on the Zoom call? And then you pick the time that works the best for you. It's all on there. You can book it all at your convenience. Sitting in your jammies. You receive an appointment packet. Once we do the discovery appointment, you get a packet of information that is the stuff that we went over in the discovery appointment. And this allows us to give you the information so that you can go back and review it after the discovery appointment is happening. So then you got, whoops, sorry, let me go back here. Then you got to fill out the intake. Now you don't have to fill out the intake before you come in for the discovery appointment. The discovery appointment is just, I want to stick my toe in the water and see if this is the right temperature for me. If you decide that you want to move forward, then we need the intake, and that's all done through the portal and all that kind of stuff. But the first thing, the very first step, remember the very first step, schedule your free 30-minute discovery appointment with me, Dr. T. And let's see if we're going to be a good fit. Let's see if you and I are on the same page. Let's see if I can help you, if the problems that you have is something that we've seen and helped with in the past. So I thank you for attending this webinar today. And if you are frustrated, if you are fully frustrated with your digestive system, and you would like to get to the cause of the problem, and you would like to deal with this, let's do it.